Hello everyone, it's Ren here. Welcome to my room, guys. I hope you are doing splendidly today. Today we're going to be talking about making decisions, difficult, tough decisions, radical decisions. As an INFJ or as a person of a different type, you'll understand shortly why I thought this, well, first of all, why this topic occurred to me, but also why I thought it would be an interesting topic to discuss. Life nowadays, lifing in the modern world, not always easy. Sometimes requires changes, sometimes requires corrective actions. And when we're used to a certain way, things are, and a system of routines that can afford us with a certain sense of security, it's not always easy to change, and despite knowing that sometimes we need to do it. So how do we deal with that? Before I move on, just remember that I have written a book on the INFJ personality, the Ecstatic Soul. The Ecstatic Soul. It's a soul and it's ecstatic. Isn't that wonderful? Okay, so if you want to get your copy, links below, Amazon links, more than 100 reviews on Amazon. It's a deep investigation of the type. So if you haven't got your copy, you know what you have to do, and you can also get my novel, which I released last year, The Infinite Castle. Main character is an INFJ, apparently. That's what the rumors say, if you're into existentialism, Kafka, Dostoevsky. And if you want to support my work, you can also get a copy at Amazon. Don't forget, you can also support me on Patreon. Thank you so much to my supporters. And I hope many more in the future. Really helps with the channel. So, making big decisions, making tough decisions as an INFJ or as a person of another type. So first of all, why did it occur to me that this would be something interesting to discuss? Well, believe it or not, you might have asked yourself why I have been recording videos from this room, which admittedly is in the south of France, and not from a room in some dark corner of a Parisian bedroom. Since I had, around the start of November, I had started life in Paris with a new job, a new city, new way of life. And I don't think that I had the opportunity to expand upon this a bit more, partly because I was going through a period of reflection. I mean, I was still releasing videos, but I wasn't really talking about it. But there might be some people among you who wondered, why is Ren in the south of France again? Well, here it goes. I quit my job and I moved back to the south of France. So I'm not moving back to Ireland, but I'm not staying in Paris. I'm not moving back to Ireland because I think that, to be honest, I lived in Ireland for a long time, many years, and in the last couple years or so, I think I was honestly not really blooming there. I was not as happy. I think I was compensating a lot. I was sometimes relying a little bit too much on, like crutches, like playing games, indulging in alcohol or some activities that are just not necessarily good for you. Nothing crazy, but still I could sense the patterns. I was compensating for something, and it was really interesting too that some people, I think in my videos, they picked up on it. They just said, I sense the sadness, there's something, and at the time I was like, no, it's not, I'm fine. But yeah, I think I was a little bit sad. I wanted to move on, but I moved to Paris, and it turns out I really didn't enjoy it at all. I hated Paris. I hated Parisian life. Way too busy. I made a video about big cities. When you wake up early in the morning, you go to the metro station, and you have to wait for 3 or 4 metros before one has one spot that's available in the metro. Otherwise, everybody's squished against one another. It was just, and the weather was just not any better than Irish weather, to be honest, and gray and packed, and people making long faces, and I was kind of just didn't really like it, didn't like it at all. And I didn't like I was only in the job for a few days, but I sensed that it wasn't for me, right? Now, I could have decided to stick to it and be unhappy, but I decided to quit everything and come back here. Now, I'm staying at the family home, but I'm already applying for jobs and taking my time, aware that, I will need some time to identify something that I really want to do. This is an opportunity for questioning this kind of thing, but it feels very liberating. It feels very liberating, and you can probably tell that, like, I feel a lot better now than I was then, And, my wife is not with me yet. She'll only be with me in January, but, only for a few weeks, and she'll have to go back to Algeria, and then she'll come back in March. It's complicated on that front as well, but, there's no reason to pressure yourself overwhelming away, that kind of thing. Things are going to work themselves out. And it was part of this that allowed me to make that tough decision. Because, arguably, it was a tough decision. There could be X number of reasons to decide against, I'm going to have a gap in my CV. I'm going to be unemployed for a while. My wife is going to be disappointed with me or whatever. Or I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. I need to earn money. I said, okay, I've got a bit of money saved. I can go back home for a while, not spend a lot of money being home, rebuilding myself, rebuilding my health, my mental health, my physical health, started going on walks, eating better food, so I'm fitter, I'm less skinny than I was for a while. And it's really exhilarating to kind of think of doing, having the freedom to make a decision and then being free to sort of choose where you want to go. And I don't know, my CV seems to already be interesting in a couple of places. Will I take the positions? If I'm offered them. It's only at the very start. Now the interview processes haven't really started at all. They only start next week, but I don't know. I'll take my time because everything is going to be okay. And this idea, which comes from the Stoics, that everything is going to be okay. It's something that in the modern world, in the Western world in particular, we sometimes forget about. We always have these musts, these do's and don'ts, these obligations in mind, and we forget that actually things are going to be, they're going to work out fine, which is a lot of to get this message and to believe it is often the key aspect of a lot of self-help books. They try to get you to that state of being, to that state of mind, and to holding that belief sincerely and powerfully, but to actually get to that stage. Luckily, my wife, given her culture, given her personality, she tends to be like that herself. It's great. It's great. Really helps me too, because I'm married to someone who is like this. Everything is going to be fine. So in some sense then, to make a tough decision, you need to believe that everything is going to be okay. And in order to believe that everything is going to be okay, of course, you need to have the sense that you're, that you're self-sufficient, that you have a whole sense of self, that you're a holistic being. In some sense, in the everything is going to be okay, there is this sense that even if that decision is not the right one, even if actually I should have kept the job, even if that's the case, it's still going to be okay because I am a self. I'm not just an ego. I am a full self. And I've made videos about how it's difficult for INFJs to develop this full sense of self because they have to deal with double alienation. They have to deal with this acute sensitivity to the question of selfhood. So they inherit the alienation and feeling bad about struggling to get a sense of self. So connectedness to selfhood and the sense that you're going to be okay helps in turn with making tough decisions that eventually are going to long-term improve your own well-being. Of course, in order to be more confident that you're making the right decision, you need to be able to trust your intuition. Trusting your intuition means going with your NI, but also having a little bit of a distance from your NI. Because if you're always lost, so to speak, if you're always swimming in your NI, you don't have any distance towards it. So you're in intuition, but you're not necessarily trusting your intuition. You're not acting in a way that you're guided by your intuition. You're just swallowed up by your intuition. So in other words, you need to have a sense of FE independence from NI in such a way that you can trust NI to make decisions with FE, because FE is the decision-making function par excellence. Okay, guided by intuition, but have in a position of trust. Now that's hard to achieve as well. It's a work of a lifetime probably, but you can start working on it now, and things can start going well quickly too, And the TI question. TI question is interesting because TI critic is very useful in other situations. But if you do allow TI to often dominate FE in the relationship with NI, in such things as the NI-TI looping and other processes, well then, what you'll get is a constant questioning and critiquing of your intuitions by TI. And it's really interesting because a lot of smart people, a lot of very smart INFJs, for instance, fall into that. The fact they're smart doesn't mean that they're going to make smart decisions, because they will intelligently question their intuition to such an extent that they will no longer trust their intuition and make decisions where the intuition is just like gone astray. And they will be the wrong decisions because there are types where intuition is not that important. It's always important, but not as important as for an INFJ. An INFJ, intuition is the dominant function. It's always going to be crucially important in decision making and in the way that an INFJ leads their life. So they need to be able to trust their intuition. They can't just rely on reason and processes like maybe an ISTJ would or something like that. To trust your intuition, you can't allow even a very acute and smart and analytical TI to constantly question your NI. At some stage, you're going to have to say, I trust what NI is saying, and I'm using FE to implement and activate that into pragmatic, practical, concrete reality, and step by step make that happen. So in other words, you have to be really balanced and achieve the sense of being a holistic being. Difficult. Of course, having a network of friends and family who supports you is always super important too, and that not everybody is equal in that respect, same as having finances, but that's a very good start. But then, anyway, let me know what you think in the comments, guys. I would be grateful for any kind of feedback, and I will see you next week. Don't forget you can support me on Patreon. See you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.